right, welcome everybody to our regularly scheduled board meeting, October 17th, 2023. Call to order. Item B, declaration of a quorum, 6 members present, 1 absent. And welcome everybody. Welcome to the meeting of College Station Independent School District Board of Trustees. We are elected at large to represent the interests of our community and our state in educating our students. Our mission for our students in this district is success each life, each day, each hour. We adhere to all pertinent laws, policies, and procedures in posting agendas and conducting our meetings. The detailed agenda information was made available to us at least 72 hours in advance. We have all come to this meeting informed and prepared. This is a meeting of the 7 trustees in a public setting rather than a public meeting. As such, public comment is included on the agenda at a specific time, requires us to listen rather than take action so as to abide by the Open Meetings Act. We are pleased that you have taken time this evening to join us. We are very proud of this school district and we thank you for your interest in and support of our students. That will bring us to item C, Pledge of Allegiance and Texas Pledge. Recognitions.
Texas first?
So we should be introduced.
Hi, my name is Stella. I go to Consol and I'm a junior. And my favorite thing about Consol would probably be how all of the students try their best to participate in all of our traditions. It really creates a sense of togetherness and it fills me with pride for my school.
Hi everyone, my name is Mackenzie Ramsey. I'm a 12th grader. My favorite thing about Consol is how I feel like everyone has a place. They have a friend group, a club to be in, an activity to be in, a career path to be involved in, and I feel like that makes everyone feel very welcomed.
Hi, my name is Jack Chupp. I'm currently a senior at College Station High School, and I'm a drum major for the Mighty Cougar Band and Guard. One thing that I love about CSHS so much is that it provides many opportunities for leadership for all our students to embody, and I feel that they always do a great job to fulfill those roles.
Hi, my name is Joshua Perot. I am a junior, and I am part of the CSHS Mighty Cougar Band and Guard. I am a drum major, and one thing I like about CSHS is how connected I feel with the teachers and the students.
Hi, I'm Jordan Kirkland. I'm a sophomore at College View High School. One thing I like about College View, it's very inclusive, and there's a lot of different people and a lot of different personalities, and I think everybody has a chance to fit in.
Hi everyone, I'm Carissa Gonzalez. I'm a senior at College View High School. I've been in dual credit since my sophomore year, and I feel like College View is very representative of every student in their school, and it's just a very inclusive place, and it makes everybody feel like a family.
Now we're going to say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to the Texas, one state, under God, one indivisible.
And now please join me for a moment of silence.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's your turn. All right, Nate.
There you go.
Really
Give him a
appreciate
little.
it.
Oh, there you go. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Thanks.
Thank you, guys. Nate. Hey.
All
All right, good evening. My name is Austin Dentz. I'm the Director of Communications for CSISD. Oh, I'm sorry. This is my first official board meeting here, so I step over? Okay, I'm sorry.
Make fun of you later.
I'm sure you will. Mr. Horak, members of the board, distinguished guests, it's my honor to recognize the outstanding accomplishments and achievements of some of our high school students tonight. 11 College Station ISD seniors were named semifinalists in the 69th Annual National Merit Scholarship Program. These 11 semifinalists are among more than 16,000 students throughout the U.S. that represent the top 1% of students who entered the merit program by taking the preliminary SAT qualifying test during their junior year. The recognition allows these academically talented students to continue in the competition for approximately 7,140 national merit scholarships worth nearly $28 million. Finalists will be notified of their designation in February, with National Merit Scholarship winners announced beginning in April and concluding in July. Students, when I call your name, please come forward and receive your certificate. Owen Kai. Abigail Deeperink. Abraham Guillen. Sashi Kolatilaka. Nicholas Leidendorf.
Wayne, did you want a picture?
Jacob Larkin. Andrew Lee. Gideon Ong. Meghana Vimulapalli. Edward Yan. Jacob Yoakum. These are the 2024 National Merit semifinalists. Let's give them a hand. All right, you guys can be seated. In addition to the semifinalists just recognized, 17 CSISD students were recognized with a letter of commendation from the National Merit Scholarship Program. These 17 students are among approximately 36,000 students nationwide who are being recognized for their exceptional academic promise with a letter of commendation from the National Merit Scholarship Program. Although they will not continue to the competition for National Merit Scholarships, commended students placed among the top 5% of more than 1.6 million students who entered the 2024 competition by taking the 2023 preliminary SAT test. Students, when I call your name, please come forward and receive your certificate. Lydia Allison. George Bickham. Andrew Finberg. Joshua Gutierrez. Harper Hall. Acton Healy. William Engling. Madison Jackson. Jenny Jiang. Karina G. Siri Parachuri. Tyler Pauling. Samita Shankar. Kaylee Z. Waylon Trejo. Braxton White. Abigail Yo. These are the 2024 commended students. Thank you, students. You can have a seat.
Good evening. My name is Gwen Elder, and I'm the proud principal of A&M Consolidated High School. I have the privilege tonight to recognize two of our amazing teachers. And at this time, I would like Elizabeth Englehart and Chiquita Hartfield to come forward. They were recognized, these are our two teachers who work in our life skills special education department. They do an amazing job with our students, from personal hygiene to academic skills to helping them transition to the real world. We just want to just show our appreciation today and honor you, both of you, and thank you for all you do for our students. And so congratulations on being recognized tonight. So.
Howdy, my name is Justin Grimes, and I proudly serve College Station High School as principal. We had two teachers that we invited tonight that I wanted to recognize. One could not make it because he's being a dad at baseball this evening. He coaches his son's team, and that is Jay Summers. Jay is a product of our CSISD Teacher Leadership Academy. He currently serves as our CTE department chair, and he is one of the two teachers that we were going to recognize for our Skills USA Washington, D.C. leadership trip. The other teacher who is here with us tonight, and I'm grateful to have as a member of our Cougar family, is Miss Kim Munoz. Miss Munoz is a CTE teacher at College Station High School, has been a member of our Cougar family for 7 years. She's also a mother of 3 Cougar graduates that are out in the real world making an impact. And she was able to travel with our 2 students that represented College Station High School and CSISD in Washington, D.C., and got to learn about leadership and legislation and finances, and actually got to interact with some of our legislators in D.C. On that trip. And so just wanted to say thank you for everything that you do every day and inspiring our students in that capacity on that stage. And she is an amazing teacher. Fun fact, we actually taught together years ago, and I've learned a lot from this lady right here. So thank you, Ms. Munoz, for everything you do.
Hello, I'm Mike Keith, principal at College View High School. And like Mr. Grimes, we selected 2 teachers, but one couldn't be here tonight. James Dawson, who's retired but acts as our liaison. He had to take care of some business in the greater Thorndale Metroplex this evening, and wishes he could be here. But James, he's been invaluable to our FET program. That program, which travels out to Rellis, working on trades, has doubled in size, and he's been instrumental. In fact, he's got the kids getting ready to pour a concrete slab that they've been working on, and have all the rebarb, and it's all tied up. It looks amazing. So excited for him. And then tonight we have Laura Patterson. College View being small, we have teachers that wear multiple hats, and Laura teaches senior business English, world history, and took over our hospitality program, which doubled in size. And so she's definitely being spread very thin, but comes to work every day. She's really made an impact on the kids. I think we had 6 get hired last week at the hotel and conference center, and we're fixing to expand that to Embassy Suites and hopefully some other partnerships that we're currently working on. And she makes College View a blessing. She has a heart for kids, and we're just so excited that she's at the Wolfpack and in our community. So thank you so much.
Thank you all very much for those presentations there. Item C3, we want to recognize the artwork there at the back of our boardroom. Sorry. Brought to you by CSISD Head Start Program, A&M Consolidated High School, College Station High School, College View High School, and I believe College View High School made those 2 pups that are at the back there. So those are not piñatas. I can tell you that. I've already checked. So that'll bring us to item D, D1, board reports. Who'd like to go first?
DEIC met. We're looking at the calendar for next year. It's very complex. There's no such thing as a perfect calendar. But I think we've got a good group for consensus. And then it's interesting what some of the school districts are doing elsewhere in the state. We have different considerations, obviously, because of the university. But it's interesting to see what other people are trying to make it more convenient for parents and for students.
Okay, I'll report for Head Start Policy Council. The beginning of the year assessments have been completed, and that data is now being compiled to guide instruction. So yes, even our youngest learners go through beginning of the year assessments. The weekly parent trainings have been focused lately on, this month have been focused on the parent-child behaviors, and those have been really well attended. We've had higher participation numbers than any other year so far. And then, you know, Jeff already mentioned the artwork in the back of the room, but on the side wall is, and he mentioned this too, is our early education kids. So check that out. Thanks.
Education Foundation is in the middle of its innovative teaching grant cycle. So 87 grants were applied for, totaling just 416,000. Grants will be selected October 24th by the Education Foundation Board, and grants will be awarded during grant patrol on November 16th. Also going on today is Brazos Valley Gives, and the CSIC Education Foundation is one of 167 nonprofits participating. We're currently, as of like an hour ago, we were #1 in terms of dollars raised. And for every $25, you receive a chance to win $2,500 for the school of your choice. So President Horak, if you would donate 25 tonight.
I've already donated today at 8 o'clock this morning. Thank you.
Okay. You want to do it again? Just checking. Okay. And everyone else, you still have time to make donations up until 11 o'clock tonight at brazosvalleygives.org.
Wonderful. Anything else? That will bring us to our superintendent update. Dr. Harcroft.
Yeah, at this time, with all of our campus principals and any assistant principals that are here, would you please stand up? Okay, October is National Principals Month. I've been in College Station ISD for the last 3 months. There's a lot of really, really impressive things about our school district. I don't think there's anything more impressive than the men and women that you see standing before you. My daughter's blessed because she goes to school here, and I really hope that our community and our parents understand the type of leadership that we have here that really supports our staff members, supports our kids. And I just want you to know, on behalf of the board and myself and our leadership team, we value your leadership, and we are blessed to have you here. So thank you. Okay, as far as some other things go, my leadership team and I have given 49 bond presentations over the last 3.5 weeks. We have oxygen and IVs back in the back, so we get loaded up every day to get out and go. We've got 7 more left. It has been very well received by community members and parents. The reason we've been so conscientious of getting information out is because anytime you go through a bond election, there's really a lot of times more misinformation than the correct information, and we just want our voters educated. They can have a stance either way of where they fall on that. That's their right as a voter, but just to have the right information is the most important thing. So they went very well. We'll end, I believe, next Wednesday will be our last presentation. Early voting starts Monday, October 23rd through November 3rd, and Election Day is November 7th.
Mr. Horak, can I add one thing since we're still on that item?
right ahead.
I just wanted to mention, I didn't know if Mr. Harkrider would, or Dr. Harkrider would mention it. It's just that last week we met with the College Station City Council, right? Obviously, those of us here know that we were there, but just to let everybody know, I think that's something we hadn't done in a while, and I think it's a good move forward and something I think we look to continue to do more of, at least on a more regular basis, just to continue to communicate about the issues that affect our students and, you know, the greater community and the things that we can work together on, particularly for our students in our community. So just wanted to share that as well.
All right. That'll bring us to item D2. We're going to debrief from the TASB conference that we all attended there at the end of September. So if anybody wants to share some of their experiences, feel free.
I think as opposed to last year, like Darren had pointed out, we realized that there are problems out there, and we have problems, but we don't have a lot of the other problems. This year, there seemed to be a more homogenous message. Kind of Dr. Harkrider's point, there's a lot of misinformation, especially with school choice, and the way the state is very centralizing things in Austin instead of allowing local ISDs to dictate their own path. A lot of unfunded mandates, and thank God we've got that good buffer like Mr. Oz just presented. We've got supportive community with the TRE and with the bond. A lot of school districts don't have that support. But it goes back to the communication, and I think it's really, what I learned is really on the school board and the administration to do what they've been doing and communicating the real facts and the real situation local to College Station, not what some think tank out of Dallas is saying.
Yeah, I seem to notice a trend, kind of piggybacking off what you said. I noticed a trend this year in the sessions that were offered. There was a lot on communicating with the community, advocacy at the state level, and bonds. Again, but that's also communicating with the community, right? There was a lot on that. And I'll say, and there was also a lot on understanding legislation that has been passed. And one of the fun things that I took away from this, and I'm talking to you, Ross. One of the things that I saw that I love, one of the takeaways, is just an idea that I grabbed from one of them. They have a food truck. Their CTE kids, they took an old bus, refurbished it, turned it into a food truck, and then the culinary kids took it out around town and did all that. And this was in one of the talks that I went to about connecting with your community. All the other things we are already doing. And so that was the fun thing. That I was like, hey, I'll share this idea with everybody. But a lot of advocacy, and again, always walk away, just like you said, Blaine, appreciation for the community that we have, the supportive community that we have here, and we just need to keep fostering that.
I'll finish this side of the room. Again, a lot of the same. I do think. I attended one of the sessions that was called, education funding, but really it was about the lack of education funding that's happening right now, and also some of the lack of legislation that has happened affecting at least funding for public education. But I mean, it is really, well, I do think it was a little different mood this year. I mean, obviously it's always good to go there and not only learn, but also be around just thousands of people who are working hard for public education across this state. I mean, and not yes, the school board members, but also really, all the administrators as well who, put their heart and sweat into our public education students. So that's always good to see and motivating. I also went to sessions on advocacy, again, at both doing that here locally for things, that we care about locally, but also on the state level. And I think board members are continuing to see how important our voices are on speaking up for what's working and what's could be better and better supported in public education. I went to a session on superintendent evaluation, something we're going to talk about in closed session, but that's obviously a part of our board role is, setting up, determining our goals for our district, but then, evaluating and monitoring those progress. So just kind of a refresh on that, important part of our role. I went to an important session about mental health. I think there were a lot of sessions, as there have been a few years, about mental health. And I think a common theme is that our school districts certainly recognize the need and work very hard to support mental health, but again, we don't get all the resources that we need to do the job that we need to do. So the particular one I went to was really about working community-wide partnerships. Really, you're saying there's more money federally than statewide for a lot of mental health initiatives. So working with the entities to get funding and grants to that we can then funnel through our schools, because that's where our kids are and we can help meet their needs. So some good ideas there. And then the last thing I'll just share is delegate assembly, right? Ms. Nolan and I went to the delegate assembly. Really, I guess the message there is really nothing different than what the advocacy agenda was that we set forth before this legislative agenda. Get teachers, retain and pay teachers, get more funding, and so the basics there. So thanks for sharing.
Anything else? I'll just share, it was, without talking more about the sessions, it was interesting to hear that every district is kind of in the same boat right now. And I don't think I've ever heard that year over year. And we can all understand why. With legislation and budgets and things like that, I think everybody in the state's got a deficit budget right now, if I recall talking and seeing the show of hands. And it's challenging right now. I think everybody sees that as school board members and seeing some of our colleagues, like Dr. Payne said, that, every district's going through something, and we're fortunate not to have to go through the real tough stuff. But we're all going through tried and tribulations right now of trying to figure out how this is all going to go. We can't even make decisions on a lot of stuff, or we have to assume, and we don't want to do that. So I think that's the struggle. The legislature said safety and security is going to be a big part of everything, and you've seen a little bit of it, but not like you thought we would, and kind of a slap in the face to public education. So not sure where we're headed, but it's nice to kind of lean on others that are in the same boat, but also see how fortunate we are as a school district here in College Station. So hopefully we'll have better outlook at next year's meeting and see how that goes. But wasn't gloom and doom, but you could kind of just get the feel of the room, if you will. So if nobody else has anything, good to go? Okay. That'll bring us to item D3, receive report on board member continuing education credit. Senate Bill 1566 passed in 85th legislative session, amended the TEC section 11.159, section B, changed the reporting board training hours from the last regular meeting of the calendar year to the last meeting held before an election of trustees. The minutes must now reflect whether each trustee has exceeded, met, or deficit in the training required for the trustee as of the first anniversary of the date of the trustee's election or appointment. I'm proud to say that all 7 of us exceeded our continuing education. And I get asked more and more, why do we have to do continuing education as school board members? And I mean, we got to know stuff too, is the way I tell people. So we got to know how all this stuff works too. So all 7 of the College Station ISD trustees have exceeded the required hours of continuing education as of the first anniversary of the date of each board member's election or appointment to the College Station ISD Board of Trustees. So well done, everybody. Congratulations on another job well done over the last year. So I appreciate all your hard work and dedication to what we do in our service for College Station ISD. So I appreciate y'all. Thanks so much on that. Brings us to item E, hearing of citizens. I have 3 cards. Are there any others? No. During this time, public comments are welcome. The Open Meetings Act prevents us from responding to speakers regarding items not on the agenda. Comments related to the items on the agenda may be discussed during deliberations on that specific agenda item. Please complete the note card and give it to the executive assistant. Public comments are limited to 3 minutes per person. Those needing an interpreter may have up to 6 minutes. Each person has 1 opportunity at the microphone regardless of minutes used. Unused minutes may not be accrued by another speaker. The executive assistant will time the comments and alert the president when time has expired. The board asks that those addressing the board refrain from derogatory comments. We'll be using this microphone right over here. And our first card speaker is Ms. Kerbel.
I forgot my notes, but I'll wing it and I'll get straight to it. As you know, we have some pretty stellar students, people that serve this community. I'm a parent of 3 kids who've gone through the ISD. My son graduated 2 years ago. Started kinder all the way through. My daughter's now a junior. Both went to Consol. He went to Consol. She's currently a junior at Consol. I have a son who's also at Oakwood. I have yet to address the board in all those years, so I want you to know how important this is to me. And the short of it is, I'm concerned for the water leaks at Consol. And as you board members know, and you've been very responsive, I had a student on the first 4 weeks that the air environment that she was in, and we don't have to be specific because it's alleged, but she developed bronchitis in a matter of 4 weeks, twice. She had stabbing chest pains, couldn't sleep, in tears, and she's a top 5% student. She wants to learn. She wants to be there to learn. I want her to have quality air. That's the only thing I'm here to ask for. Rats were identified last year in the fall, as was noted. It wasn't remedied till summer. She had droppings on her desk, droppings in her chair. I gave her alcohol rubbing wipes to take to school with her. My son was on the baseball team when the ball went through the net. I've seen things and I have yet to say anything. I'm okay with facilities not being perfect. I mean, my son's playing JUCO ball. That's about as imperfect as you can get right now. I'm okay with that. They can deal with adversity. But this is different because it's coming down to air quality, and that is health related. So it's not just adversity. It's not something I can help her with. So the reason I have an ongoing concern, and you guys have been, like I said, very responsive, and I appreciate that. The reason I have an ongoing concern, there's a part of the newly remodeled area that was done over the summer to get rid of the rats. I appreciate that. The new workroom construction was complete over the summer, and there are currently 4 new water stains. So I kind of just dropped to my knees and like beg you to fix the water leaks. I cannot have her sitting from fall to summer like she did with the rats, because as we know, water leaks can cause mold growth. She's highly allergic to mold. We spent thousands of dollars this fall figuring that out because I didn't know why she was so sick. So I'm just begging you, if it's a third party that you need to hire because maintenance is too busy, please fix the water leaks. There's new tiles that were just put up that are already restained. So that's really it. That's all I ask. Thank you.
Thank you. Second card, Mr. Bennett.
Thank you. Again, my name is Rick Bennett. I am currently co-chairman of the PAC that is promoting the bond. With me here today is Paul Haverluck. He's our other chair, and Laura Osina, who's our treasurer. I just wanted to take a few minutes to extend a thank you to these ladies over here and Dr. Harkrider for their efforts in the community to get out and present the bond, and also take time out of their day and their evenings to sit with the community and answer questions concerning the bond. I think this group has done an outstanding job presenting the bond and getting information out to the community. I thank you for doing that. It makes our job with the PAC a little bit easier. I think I've been to at least one PTO meeting with everybody that's been presenting, and it's a clear message to the community. As a PAC, we've been out and we've talked to hundreds of people in the community, and we're getting very positive feedback. We're promoting, we're answering questions, and we're beating the path with these guys to go out and make sure that we drive people to the polls, and then not only get them to vote, but allow them to have an educated vote. That's very important to us. Dr. Harkrider mentioned earlier 49 PTO meetings. I think we've had someone from the PAC at just about every meeting so far. So we're there representing the community and trying to get all the questions answered. I'd also want to thank all the principals in the room for allowing us into your schools at the PTO meetings and other organizations to meet with your parents and just be a part of this movement to get this bond passed. We're very dedicated to it. We've spent a lot of hours, not only fundraising, but getting information out. You've seen signs starting to pop up all over everywhere, so we're kind of making our move now. We're really pushing to get people out and get information out, correct information out. I appreciate the district's transparency with this information. This bond touches every single kid in our district, every one, for years to come. So we're asking you to continue your efforts to go out and educate the community on this bond. And again, I just want to take a few minutes to thank the district for their efforts. I think this is something that's not ever been achieved before by our district, is this kind of information to the public. So again, I thank you and I appreciate your efforts.
Thank you. Third card, Ms. Rourke.
This is my first time speaking, so sorry. My name is Marcella Roark. Right now, I'm just trying to advocate for a bus for College Hills Elementary School. I mean, there's parents that are losing jobs because they're not able to work 7 to 3. You can't. I mean, the school doors don't open until 7:15, and then they don't have a chance to be there to pick them up at 3. We don't have a bus, so everybody is walking. My husband, during bad weather, whether it's rainy weather, whatever it is, he'll have to call in late for bad weather, or our babies just have to miss school. We're having to choose between court or risking his job, and there's over 100 families in College Hills Elementary that are going through the exact same thing. If one of my 2 children are sick, they both have to stay home because I can't leave one home alone. It's just it's not safe. I can't do it. Let's see. You know, I'm actually one of the lucky ones because I'm a stay-at-home mom, but I can't even imagine the stress of 2 working parents having to deal with that, with all of those different obstacles. Will be held accountable for absences by law and end up in court for truancy, and it's a shame to be put in that situation. On top of that, there's so many reasons that that a bus is needed. I mean, health reasons. I myself have had over 6 surgeries and chemo for endometriosis, and it's very hard on my body pretty often, which, you know, I make it anyways, but some aren't so lucky. There's a mother I know that, for lack of a better word, she had a botched C-section, and her baby had to miss school for 2 months straight, and still to this day, she walks with her little baby in her stroller completely just bent over because she's in so much pain, and she's still every day, every morning, every evening, during the heat, when it's really hot outside. I mean, there's babies out there that are just sweating profusely, vomiting, I mean, crying, because it's miserable being, I mean, a 30-minute walk to school, a 30-minute walk back. Mornings aren't so bad. Evenings, absolutely. It can get brutal. The winter is concerning. It's concerning, especially when you have so many babies out there. On top of that, there's dangerous neighborhoods in our area. I mean, there's some children that 4 and 5-year-olds, I mean, this big, they're walking home and they're walking to school by themselves with no guidance because their parents have to work or whatever the case is. I mean, there's so many different, you know. Oh,
Thank you.
yes.
That'll bring us to item F, consent agenda. Those items are G, H3, J1, J2, J3, J4, J5, J6, J7, K1, and K2.
I motion to approve.
I have a motion by Dr. Payne, second by Mr. Decker. Any discussion, questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries 6-0. That brings us to item H1, receiver report on community education, programming, and CSISD. I believe Mr. Gardner is going to be doing that for us.
My mic's on. There we go. So it's my pleasure to be here this evening. Thanks for having me back. It's been 3 years for this report. So let's jump right in. All right, so what do we do? So through recreational enrichment and educational programming, our goal is to create a fun and safe environment for children. I say that for children because we are involved in after-school and summer programming. We build relationships with children and families, develop social and interpersonal skills. That's kind of our biggest thing for us with recreational enrichment. We spend a lot of time socially with kids after school and during the summertime. And also, too, we create and facilitate age-appropriate activities, and our goal really is to teach and grow people. I say that because that includes our staff. So this is a lot of information, and so I'll run through it really quickly. Who does what we do? So in our office, we have 3 full-time directors. We have a director, coordinator, supervisor, and then a secretary and registrar. Other than that, everyone else is going to be a part-time or temporary employee. So for Kids Club and summer camp, mostly it's college and young adults. They come from all different backgrounds. They study all different things, which is what we want. We want people who are coming from all different areas of study. Most everybody here our staff is here for college. They're either at Texas A&M or at Blinn. Currently, we have 148 part-time staff. Out of that, 4 are support campus leadership. We have 24 campus leadership, 13 site administrative assistants. That's kind of the face that you see when you show up on campus. We have 107 direct care staff. So one number that kind of stands out, there's 72 new hires for the fall of 2023. That is a few more than what we had in the fall of 2022, the entire semester of the fall of 2022. So since August, we've hired 72 people. 6 of those people are rehires for us, which means they worked for us in a semester in the past. So it could have been a year ago, could have been two years ago. Summer camp is 85 temporary staff. Now, out of that, 2 site directors are professional staff within the district. So typically they're going to be a teacher. And so currently our site directors last year were our teacher at Rock Prairie and then a math teacher at Pecan Trail. So 4 assistant site directors, they kind of oversee everything that runs on the daily basis. 4 program leads, they're in charge of our afternoon programming, our thematic programming. I'll talk more about that in here in a little bit. Same with our 4 activity leads. So morning activities take up the morning in the summertime. We have 4 site administrative assistants, 4 healthcare staff, and then 63 direct care staff. So that's split across 2 campuses. For summer enrichment, that's a new program for us. It's not new to the district. It is new to us. We took over summer enrichment 2 years ago, and so it's been in the school district for a long time, but it's new to us. So with that, it's basically all CSISD professional staff that operate that program or teach in that program. They come from elementary and secondary classrooms. So we have 1 campus director. She's been with the program for a while. Couldn't do it without her. 31 teachers, and we also had 6 support staff this last summer. So a little bit of background history. Run through this really quick because most of you guys have seen this. 2 of our 3 programs have been with the school district since the 80s. So summer camp started in 1986. Kids Club started in 1987. Summer enrichment, I don't have that number for you. It's so new to us. I don't have the history. And of course, too, with summer camp and Kids Club, I've been with that program for a long time, both of those programs for a long time, so since the 90s. So summer enrichment, formerly known as Enrichment Summer School. We changed that name just so it has a little bit more fun, and it doesn't sound so much like summer school. Like summer school has hey, you have to go to summer school. So we call it summer enrichment. Again, all the programs are fun, safe for children to learn, grow, and be active in the summer and after school programs. So one thing it's really cool, I'll probably talk a little bit more too if I have time. They're all district programs. So versus an outside entity. So a lot of districts serve these populations with outside entities or outside organizations or groups, and they come into the schools and run a program. Our school district is unique in that fact that we decided as a community, this is what we need and this is how we're going to do it. We're going to operate through the school. All right, so here's a fun one too, keeping them in CSISD. So currently at CSISD, we have 39 campus staff, or 39 campus and central office personnel that are former Kids Club or Summer Day Camp staff. Most of them all started with kids or in CSISD with one of those 2 programs. We have paraprofessionals, we have teachers, we have specialists, we have coach, we have administrators. 24 of them are on the elementary campus, 15 are secondary. We are on 16 of 19 campuses, and some of those people actually started as Kids Club kids. So not just like, hey, I started as a staff member, but they went all the way through the program. So community involvement, we try and stay very involved in the community. Relay for Life, 50 Men Who Can Cook, never too early to start throwing that one out. Junior Achievement Bowl-a-thon, we typically with that one probably send the most teams out of anybody. We send somewhere between 13 to 24 teams to Junior Achievement Bowl-a-thon a year. We do Salvation Army bell ringing, Red Ribbon Week, Trunk or Treat. I'll go ahead and make that plug. October 25th at CSHS is our annual Kids Club Trunk or Treat. So if you want to come out there with a bunch of kids and get free candy, that's where we'll be. Big event, our staff are involved in that. We also do childcare for a lot of campus and department events. And so a lot of things that go on with PTO, early childhood, those type of things, they call us and we go and help out in that area too. So jumping into specific programs, Kids Club, run through all this stuff really quickly. We're on 13 campuses, which is a big number from whenever I started. Way back in the day. Operation times, we operate as soon as school gets out. So 3:05 to 6 on the elementary campus, 3:50 to 6:15 on the intermediate school campuses. We follow the school district calendar. And so any day that kids are in school, It's when we have Kids Club. Includes our early release days. Tuition has increased over the years. We currently have a $60 registration fee, which actually pays for registration, a registration system. And $190 is our 10 installments. We do have a reduced rate, both for free and reduced lunch or children that receive free and reduced lunch. The rate varies for that piece. There's also a discount for our CSISD employees as well. We serve grades K through 6 after school. We do have mixed level groups. So I put this on here, elementary, it's kind of a weird deal. It depends kind of on how many kids we have on the campus as far as grade level breakdown goes. Typically, your grade level in elementary is going to be like a K1 group. So kids who are in kindergarten, first grade will be grouped together. First and second. Second grade is kind of the weird one that kind of fluctuates between like younger kids, older kids. So second and third grade and third and fourth grade are typically together. Intermediate, we just combine them, fifth and sixth grade. Typically, we'll have them come in, they may be fifth grade for check-in and sixth grade for check-in, but as far as like what we do on a normal basis, they're kind of together. We do a lot of choice. I didn't put up a whole schedule for the day, but a lot of our choice, kids have choice after school for us. Some things they don't have a choice in, but pretty much have choice. So examples of that would be like a big game or like project-based or a craft. They get that choice. Like, hey, do I want to go do this or do I want to go do this? We do have plans. A lot of people ask the question, like, how structured are you? We're structured. We're just not structured as school. So we have plans that are submitted and reviewed weeks in advance, like weeks and weeks in advance, because then we have to shop for them. They're reviewed, they're returned. So our staff kind of it's not as elaborate probably as a lesson plan for a teacher, but it's pretty close. We're getting them kind of close there. Even to the fact with like, hey, this is the place that we're going to do this. Like, hey, this is where we're going to, this is the location of the school we're going to use. This is the time we're going to do it. This is, and also too, they have to list out basically for like a substitute teacher, like this is how you actually do it. And this is how you run it. A lot of times we include links for videos and stuff for staff to be able to see that. For space, we use on the campus, on most campuses, we are outdoors. We're in the gym, cafeteria, music, art, and computer. So most campuses, that's where we spend most of our time after school. Some campuses, we don't have those spaces. And then, of course, too, not all of our schools have pods. So we do use pods when we need to. And so the pod is that space in between all the classrooms and the grade levels. And, of course, at the intermediate school campus, the lecture hall typically is open or like an LGI type space for us. Capacity, we are looking at a 15 to 20 student to staff ratio. We'd like to get that number down to 1 to 12. That's kind of like the goal number, but we're not there yet. We currently have 922 or a little more than that, 922 currently enrolled students. That number is going to grow in the next couple of weeks. Enrollment, I tried to add some color, but it may be too much. So number of students served. So just kind of give you a snapshot across the way, and I'll read these numbers. That way, if the screen's too hard for you to see it. So in 2020, 2021, we had 756 students. Of course, that's taking you all the way back to COVID. So coming back from COVID, we didn't have a huge return. 21 to 22, 1,042 is where we jumped. So we saw kind of an increased need there, or people coming back to after school. And then you'll see there's kind of a decreased number with 849 for 22 to 23. Most of that is due to staffing, which we talked about in the springtime, and I'll talk more about staffing here shortly. And then we're up to 922 plus. Now, we didn't start there this year. We started, and I'll talk more about, hopefully about wait lists here shortly, but we started with over 400 kids on our wait list for Kids Club this year. We're down to less than 200. So that's kind of a positive for us. Not kind of, it is. It's a huge positive for us. It means we're serving more families. So we are a self-funded program. So we're dependent on student tuition. So everything comes from that. So state and tax dollars, federal dollars does not come through our program. That's all based on student tuition. Our budget health, so 1920 and 2021, we operated out of a deficit budget. A lot of that was because of COVID. Well, pretty much all of it was because of COVID. COVID year shut down. We still paid staff. And so we spent a lot more money than, well, we stopped taking money in. So we served as a deficit. 2021, less kids came back, but we also had to staff in a different way. And so we were staffing higher than what we, as far as our kind of normal ratio goes on that. We've bounced back. We do have a little bit of a budget surplus over the last 2 years. We have increased tuition on those 2 years as well. Most of that is because of expenses. As we all know, everything is more expensive than what it used to be. And so expenses have increased. We've also increased our pay rate significantly for us to be a little bit more competitive in the local market. We've also looked at being more efficient in the use of our supplies and programming, and that's just through extensive research during the shopping process. And so I can tell you there's lots of time that we spend like, hey, we're going to buy this, whatever it is, and we spend a lot of time researching those pieces to see what's going to be our best bet. We have also the last couple of years used a combined supply backstock. So with 13 campuses, we'll buy supplies, but then also too, we may not use all those supplies. So we basically pulled them all and put them in our office and said, hey, let's use these. And so that's what we did. We've now used all of those, which is awesome. And so one thing that has suffered from that, though, as far as being a little bit more aware, trying to make sure that we are not operating out of the deficit budget, as we did cut our club's programming. And so hopefully that will come back in the next few years. And some of that also, too, is based off of staffing. Over the last 3 years, we've operated with a budget somewhere between 1.2 and 1.5 million. So I just gave you that number because I could list all the numbers, but it's all about that. So summer camp, and so if you think of summer camp, or a lot of people summer camp, this is kind of what they think of, is this picture here. And this is from this last summer at Six Flags. So campus locations, we are at Greens Prairie and River Bend, 2 campuses we had never been at for summer camp this summer. Everyone was super excited about that. So it's lots of fun, 2 different pod schools. We do operate all day. So we go from like after school, a couple hours, to all day. We open the doors at 7:30, we close at 6, Monday through Friday. We operate most of the summer. So as soon as school gets out, May 30th, we jumped in. We finished up August 2nd, moved out August 3rd, hopefully to give our custodial department facilities a chance to kind of clean the schools up. So that was 9.5 weeks this summer. Tuition cost was $60 registration fee. And then we also had $180 per week. Fortunately for us, Education Foundation has hooked us up the last couple of years with scholarships for kids. So we had the opportunity possibly to have 30 kids come to summer camp from Education Foundation. We did not hit 30. I think we had 29 total. But that's 29 kids who otherwise would not be able to make it to summer camp. And so they have a process and how those students are picked. And we get the joy of just saying like, yeah, come on, show up. We're going to have a good time. So we serve same thing, kindergarten through 6th grade, but it's completion of. So we want to make sure that kids have had a year of school before they come to us for summer. Junior camp, senior camp, K through 2 and 3 through 6 is our kind of breakdown. Camp Roundup, skits, challenge. I wish this picture showed up better because it's awesome. It shows our camp roundup, our cabin time. So if you get a chance, I'll maybe send this to you. You can see all these little circles. There's like 10 circles sitting on and they're doing cabin time. And so camp roundup is kind of how we start our day. Morning activities, I'll talk about that in a second. Thematic programming, and of course 2 field trips. Space use, we use pretty much what we do during the school year, but we also jump into the pods and grade level classrooms. So we take up two whole grade levels when we're at summer camp on both campuses. We have 200 students per campus, so we operated this year at 400 kids each week. Those spots were full basically by the time we opened registration. We also had 300 kids on the wait list for summer camp. And that's after all 10 weeks were full, or all 9.5 weeks were full. Morning activities. So basically breaks down into 4 different categories: creative expression, mind benders, outdoors, and sports. I'm not going to read all of those, so you can kind of look through some cool ones kind of to point out. Really honestly, for strategy games, really cool. Coding, we jumped into that. Archery is always a big one for us. We also do some different sports from time to time, like lacrosse, which is kind of a cool game as long as we have staff that can teach it. That would not be me. Thematic programming, we're going to jump into choice activities. This is where we get into like skits, challenges, costumes, weekly themes. I have a few examples of those listed there for you to look at. Tons of fun. Shark Tank Week meant that our programming staff jumped into those inflatable shark costumes and ran around the school. So lots of fun. They kind of scared me actually as I walked by the closet one day because they were already in costume and I didn't know who was in there. Field trips. That's kind of one of the big things. Six Flags Fiesta Texas. Yes, we do that all in one day. We jump on the bus early in the morning. We drive down to Fiesta Texas in San Antonio. We run through the park and then we drive back all in one day. Yes, we are the crazy ones who take 100 plus kids to San Antonio and walk them around a theme park. It's actually a lot of fun. So if you ever want to come, jump in. NASA Space, Jolison Farms, I want to talk about them for a second. First time we went there. So normally you show up to like a farm and it's like berry picking, which is great and that's cool. But the people there were like, oh no, we're going to teach your kids like some real stuff. So here, come on over here and dig up some potatoes and we're going to show you how to actually do it. And like kids are like, they put them to work. So I don't know if it's like really a teaching thing or if it was more like free labor for a couple of hours. That could have been it. Who knows? But I thought it was really cool. Oh, I didn't, and it was, I'll go and put that, it was an Astros year for us. So every other year we go to a baseball game. So that was Astros game this year. I had to throw that on there. So yeah, and I'll be completely honest, like Ricky gets super excited about that. Yeah, okay, Crew. Crew is a volunteer opportunity for our kids age 14 to 17. They come help us out. And so we typically have six or eight of them that run around with everyone else. They go on field trips with us. Some of our crew in the past have become staff, which is kind of a cool deal. It's not like a direct line, but it's kind of a cool thing for them to come and help us out and run around. And normally it's all former kids who came through summer camp or kids club. So lots of fun for them to come and join us. Enrollment for us, if you look at 2020, 123, really low number, but that's because it was COVID. We jumped up to 483, then up to 650, and then 659. That's total students served who were able to get in and come through summer camp. Our budget is also dependent on student tuition. Again, in the same year as 20 and 21, we operated from a deficit. Of course, that deficit, like Kids Club, was taken from our fund balance. 22 and 23, we operated in a little bit of surplus. Again, the same type stuff. Increase of expenses, pay rate increases. And again, we are also more efficient in some different things, adjusting some of our field trips, how we do that, how we combine buses, paying attention to our specific number. A lot of times we get the questions, so like, why 200? It's all a math game. I mean, and some of it comes down to actual field trips. Like, how many kids can you get on a bus? Does it cost us? I mean, are we gonna have to get another bus? We have to get another bus. You know, for a trip like San Antonio, you're talking that's an additional like $700, $800 in expense just for transportation. So we have to pay attention to those type of things. We did change our morning activity programming, how we do that a little bit. We do operate out of a $500,000 to $600,000 budget over the last couple of years. Summer Enrichment, talked about that, joining us the last couple of years. They actually jumped on board with just their registration process in 21, but 22, 23 joined us with Community Ed. And so when I say summer enrichment, I'm talking about two different things, summer enrichment and also Camp U. I'll talk more about that. So campus location the last couple of years has been at Creekview. We do operate from 8 to noon, Monday through Friday. We operate just the month of June, basically, May 30th through June 23rd were our days, 4 weeks. For tuition, it's $80 a class hour, or if you're going to Camp U, it's $320. So if you do the math, that's 4 hours, so $320. We serve pre-K through 6th grade with summer enrichment and Camp U. Summer enrichment is our pre-K through 3rd grade kids. They can register for up to 4 hours of classes. So we do offer a 4-hour class. That's typically just our pre-K class. We offer 2-hour classes. We offer 1-hour classes. Majority of our kids go to 1-hour classes. So they go from 8 to 9, 9 to 10, 10 to 11, 11 to 12. Class offerings, just some examples that are up there for what was offered this last year. It is anything from education all the way through like sports and STEM. We use a whole elementary -1 pod because of Camp U, but it's on the same campus, so we use a whole elementary. Capacity, we look at about 12 to 18 students per class for summer enrichment. Camp U. Chose this picture specifically because Ceramics U joined us this year, was new for 2023. We jumped from 4 classes to 5 or available classes for Camp U, and Ceramics was a big hit. I think we had 20 wills, but we had like 25 kids in that class all the time. So really cool. We do have that. It is registration. It's one registration. You get 4 hours. So if you notice, there's 5 classes. Kids get to choose between. Out of those 5, they get 4 for the day or for Camp U. And so space use, we do use a grade level pod in classrooms for Camp U. So we take all of those 4th, 5th, and 6th graders and put them down into one space. And of course, those classes are typically about 15 to 20 students per class. Enrollment, 2020, we did not have summer enrichment at all because of COVID. 2021, we had 345 students enrolled. There's 2 different numbers there, and I'll tell you why. 345 students were enrolled. We had 920 enrollments. So this is a little different from Kids Club and summer camp because you enroll for a class. And so there's 920 enrollments for that. We jumped that number up to 396, 1,076 enrollments in 22. And then also we were up to 400 students and 1,111 enrollments this last year. So that means that we had more kids, but we also had more kids taking more classes. Okay, easy way to say that. It is self-funded, so it is dependent on student tuition. Budget Health consistently operates in a surplus budget, and so we make sure we monitor that. The surplus then is taken and placed into the general fund. Surplus has decreased in the past 2 years because we've had expense increase, but also we also took our staff for summer enrichment and increased them to meet the same as everyone else who's teaching summer school. Okay, and so over the past 3 years, somewhere between 71 to 105,000 is what we're looking at for summer enrichment as far as our budget. So assets for, generally speaking, across all 3 different programs. We are CSISD. I mentioned that earlier. It's very unique for us to have that. We have people who want to be engaged with students. I'm not saying that we don't in CSISD, but I mean, we have staff that want to be there. And of course, too, some of that's because we get into the summertime and after school. So even some of our classes in the summertime is like, we have to go teach some fun stuff. So it's kind of cool. All of our programs are grown out of the community. And so it was a need grown out of our community versus someone else coming in. Staff, people are a true asset. They're on the next slide too, but they are a true asset across the board in all 3 programs. We do have a high customer retention in all 3 programs. We have a growing social media presence, been a huge push for us, especially with Kids Club. There's leadership opportunities for our staff, and we have a user-friendly multi-purpose registration system. So we actually take care of registration. Our registration system takes care of not only our 3 programs, but also sports camps and summer school. So all of those registrations come through our department. So challenges, we are self-funded. So that always means too, like, hey, are we going to be able to do this? We do have some expenses that are fixed. Storage, like I have storage units. I have 9 storage units across town. That is a fixed expense for me. I know that's going to be there. We have some other things that are fixed expenses, but supplies have cost more. Staffing, we want to pay people more money to make sure that we can keep and retain staff. And then also too, recruitment is an expense. It's not a huge expense. I'll throw this number out there. We started really trying to talk about for recruitment, what can we do to recruit staff? Our staff are all pretty young, and so you're jumping on social media mostly to see who we can connect with. And so we've spent a few $1,000s just in advertisements and ads for that piece. So that's an expense that wasn't there in the past for us. Challenges, staff, recruitment, huge deal for us. To try and recruit staff. They're a difficult group to recruit because of where they get their information from. As far as finding that kind of niche to be there. Jumping on campus is always fun, typically not real fruitful. We've received some stuff from our ads that we've done through social media. We have increased our social media presence, but most of it's going to be word of mouth. is where we get our recruitment from. Experience for our staff. So our staff, typically when you look at Kids Club and summer camp, is going to be babysitting or no experience, previous experience. So we want to try and take someone who's never worked with kids and get them to a point to where they can run and facilitate their own group and campus in a matter of weeks, not years. Like, you know, it's the experience piece for our staff coming in is a difficult thing for us. Staff development. Our staff are in school pretty much during the day, so staff development time would be after school. Well, we run a program after school, and so they're jumping into the evening time. Or when we have staff development days, we have a large group, and so everything else pretty much is taken up on staff development days. So this building's occupied on staff development days. Schools are occupied for staff development days. And so a lot of times when we get into especially beginning of the year, our staff development occurs off campus somewhere, which is also an additional expense for us. Turnover, and I say that because our staff are here for a short time. And really honestly, we want them to be here a short time because that means they're getting done with school, right? They're being successful in what they came here to do. And so they're temporary and turnover. Classes change, class schedule changes. One cool thing that Blinn does is they offer like 8-week classes and 10-week classes, and that's really awesome, except for that really messes with me because right now, October, they're changing classes. So it means it may change their work schedule as well. Wait list and registration. I'm going to go ahead and bring that one out there, big one. And so for many of our schools, pretty much all of our schools this year, we had a wait list for Kids Club. The crazy thing is that we are just now with our some of our campuses, we open registration at 10 a.m. We are just now getting to the 10:04 mark as far as letting kids in off of the wait list. So really honestly, if you are not on some of our campuses, if you are not registered by 10 and 59 seconds, you're on the wait list. And so speaks highly of our program, but also too, that is something that we are aware of, and it's heartbreaking for us because that means that's families that we're not serving. And so wait list is always one for us, which that typically is and has been the last couple of years a staff issue. Space use is on there just because we come in right after school, but also too when you look at summer camp, we're basically kicking everybody out to move in because we start right after school. I'll just run through and not spend a lot of time on these last couple slides. I talked a little bit about staff, and I know that's always one that comes up. Staff is one that is our greatest asset and our greatest challenge. We love our staff. It's funny because now those of us that are in the office are getting to the point where we feel like parents. So even today, staff came in and like, hey, are you busy? No, I'm never busy. You know, and they're like, can you help us? We started to change the car in the parking lot and the car started rolling. What do we do? So we get questions like that. And then we get questions on all kinds of things about life. But staff is our greatest one. That's an asset and a challenge for us. And so just making sure that we get enough. Question that has been asked to us too, we've increased pay rates to be closer to the market. Is that a huge reason why we've been able to hire as much? We'd like to think so. Do we have the data on that? No, we do not. Are we closer? Yes. Are we where we would like to be as far as some other places? No. There's still some room to be made in that area if we can. So I'm sure I'm going over 10 minutes. I was going to ask Carrie to time me, but then the alarm would go off, and then that would be no fun. So I appreciate your time. Do you have any questions or comments for me?
Chad, I always enjoy getting your reports and hearing all the fun things that you guys do. I know that you talked to us last year and told us about some of your problems. So I was glad to hear you address that tonight. So you answered my questions about pay and the wait list and all that. But thanks. And I do wish that we could get that wait list down even more. I know there's tons of challenges.
Yeah. I mean, and really honestly, our biggest challenge is staff. I mean, is it always pay rate? No. I mean, Mr. Decker, you talked about school calendar. Right. We like to start early August. here in CSISD. Our students at A&M do not. And that's something that's changed. I mean, not that they want to start, but I mean, that's something that's changed for us. Like when I was when I was in school, you know, we moved from apartment to apartment or from house to house. And most of our students now, across the board, whether it be on campus, you live on campus or off campus, you can't move in until this day. Well, we've started school like 3 weeks before that. You know, and so that, I mean, even weird little things like that's a challenge for us for staffing.
I think you hit the summary when you talked about the demand, that if you wait till 10:05 and you're on the wait list, I think that really speaks to the quality, not only the need, like Mr. Rourke pointed out, that after-school care is critical in this community with the proliferation of two-income households.
Yeah.
But I think also the quality, you wouldn't get that kind of demand if people weren't coming back year after year. So I think it speaks to your staffing and development. Great job there. And then my question for Dr. Harkrider, being the more well-traveled of us in the state, how common are these kind of programs and then the quality compared to other districts?
It's self-sufficient from the district standpoint. A lot of districts will use YMCA or some local vendor in town that offsets that. So for it to be strictly from our district and our standpoint is definitely unique. I think Chad is correct. I think everybody feels like funding is going to solve all the world's problems. It's not. It definitely does not hurt. But I do think this year we started the third Wednesday, and I believe everybody moved in at A&M like a week, maybe 10 days after that. So you've got that overlap there. That's problematic as well.
Yeah.
And I think right now it's just the workforce in general, whether it's us looking for workers for the school district, restaurants looking for workers. I think everybody is hungry for the workforce. Unfortunately, folks aren't coming out right now.
And do you see this as a recruiting tool? Because I know like Miss Melanie, Mr. West are thinking about when they graduate coming to work for us. Is this a good recruiting tool?
I think if we didn't have a waiting list, it'd be a real good recruiting tool. The wait list, other than it's an option for parents though, financially that makes sense. That definitely doesn't hurt. Get people here.
And I'll just add similar message, similar to what we talked about in January, that obviously it's a great program and a well-loved program, but also a extremely needed program, right? And that's why we continue to have the wait list. I'm so glad to hear that there's been progress towards it, towards reducing that wait list. Do you survey, well, I guess two questions, as far as how much people pay for this service, and again, I know it's not all about money, but have you, benchmarked other similar programs, after-school programs across the community as far as, what they do or what they charge? And then also, have you ever surveyed our parents about how much they'd be willing to pay? I mean, when you have a wait list so large, and obviously, and other parents are having to go other places to, there's probably would be a larger wait list, that's what I'm saying, because parents have already had to give up, to go find other places. So I just curious about how much we've studied what else other options are and where we fall in the community.
Yes, we have. I mean, as far as your second question, surveying parents and how much they're willing to pay, that would be an interesting thing. Informal survey, yes, but it wasn't necessarily by us. We've had parents who say, well, hey, we'd be willing to pay more. It wasn't anything that we said, hey, what are you willing to pay? But as far as in the community, we are still the cheapest at $190 by somewhere between $50 to $100. There's other programs in the district that are running $300 a month for less time and for less programming, less things that we do. There are some other places that are cheaper. There's one specifically that's run by the city that's a little cheaper, Boys and Girls Club. But everyone else is going to be more expensive than us. And yeah, so is our wait list smaller? It is than it has been in the past. Is that because families have had to find somewhere else? Probably so.
Yeah.
And they're probably paying more money for that.
two other quick things. When you say the programs are self-funded, are they independently self-funded, or do you share funds between the three programs that you presented? I mean, overall, they're self-funded, but
Yes, they are all independently self-funded.
independently,
Yes.
right? So you're not taking money from Kids Club for the one that, yeah.
I am not. No, I am not. They're all independently self-funded. All different budget codes. When the school district took over Kids Club fully, that was a question that we had, but we wanted to keep them separate as far as Kids Club, summer camp, and then summer enrichment has always been operated out of general fund budget.
All right, I'm going to ask my last one, I promise. I'm curious, and I don't know if you do know this, I appreciate that we have reduced funding for free and reduced students, and obviously the scholarships are fabulous too for the summer program, but do you have any idea on percentage-wise, compared to our percentage of students that are on free and reduced lunch, how many are actually coming to our Kids Club? Is it a comparable percentage of free and reduced students?
I do not have that information. I'd be happy to get it for you.
Okay, that's perfect.
Chad, are our workers, just for my own learning, are they all college students?
Kids Club and summer camp, yes.
Okay. Have we ever explored looking at high school seniors with us?
So all of our positions are paraprofessionals, actually. And so that would be a question if we would be able to do that as a paraprofessional, have a high school senior.
Is there any way around that as far as creating temporary positions for maybe high school seniors to help offset that?
There's certainly ways that we could look into that. We would need to look into the federal labor laws and make sure that we're in compliance with all that on age requirements and that sort of thing. But beyond that, we don't have, to my knowledge, any limitations on hiring students. Okay.
Anything else? Thank you, Mr. Gardner.
Okay.
Appreciate you.
Thank you. I will tell you, I did see, that our board workshop was canceled, so I thought, that means I got more time.
I appreciate you taking.
But I was told specifically I do not, and so.
Well, I can
thank you
tell
for
that
your time.
You have slowed down your speech from last year, so I can tell how hard you're working, and that's why you took longer, because your speech is so much slower this year.
Well, and I had to add a whole other program in it, and it's still trying to meet in that time frame, and
That's
I know
amazing.
I didn't. Yeah, I'm sure there's lots of people who tell me that.
Yeah. That brings us to H2, which we will table to November, as the presenter was under the weather for today. So we are going to table that to November. Just wanted to let y'all know. Bring us to item I1, consideration, discussion, possible action regarding a new administrative contract for the chief staff and school leadership. Dr. Harkrider.
Yes, I'm excited to present tonight a recommendation for Chief of Staff and School Leadership. Recommendation will be Ms. Sarah Goolsby. Sarah has worked in public education for 20 years. She has 7 years experience as a campus leader. She is in her 8th year experience at the district level as far as leadership goes. I think she is an outstanding leader. She's an even better person, and I think she will be a great fit for College Station ISD.
A motion to approve as presented.
I'll second.
Motion by Dr. Payne, second by Ms. Nolan. Any discussion, questions?
I just have a question. I have a question. I know we haven't had a chief of staff. I know it's a very common position, especially larger private organizations. We haven't had one. Is this a new position, or is it and also from a expense perspective, is it net neutral, or are we adding to costs?
Will be not quite net neutral. We currently are not filling a position for Executive Director of Special Education. There was a Chief Academic Officer position that was replaced with an Executive Director of Elementary Ed, I believe, a year ago. So that chief position was still there. So we used that particular position that was not on the books. So now it is on the books, but it's offset mostly by the Executive Director position not being filled.
We have a motion again by Dr. Payne, second by Ms. Nolan. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries 6-0. Congratulations, Ms. Goolsby, and welcome to College Station ISD. Is that it? That'll bring us to item L1, executive session consideration and discussion related to superintendent evaluation. The executive session deliberations will be held pursuant to personnel matters closed meeting exception to the Texas Open Meetings Act as set forth in section 551.074 Texas Government Code. Appreciate all y'all being here. We'll see y'all when we get back. And again, to all the principals and APs, we appreciate everything you do to keep our schools running and functioning and keeping our teachers happy. So keep doing the great job, and thank y'all for all you do. All right, we'll call it back to open session at 9:07 and then head to our final item, adjourn.